my number one. To me, again, going back and looking at the earlier days, like the 70s and 80s of the Bay Area comedy scene and the Holy City Zoo and all these kind of places that were popping back then, the other cafe and all these spots. And I saw this comedian who, to me, people forget how good of a stand-up he is. He got famous for other stuff, doing sketch comedy and things, but people forget that he was a stand-up comedian. He's a brilliant stand-up comedian, and he just loves to chop broccoli. And this is Dana Carvey. He worked his way up through doing stand-up, ended up getting a big break with SNL. Proved he's one of the greatest to ever do SNL. In my opinion, his just pound for pound characters, sketches, all that kind of stuff makes him definitely. If I was to do a top 5 SNL, he'd probably be on that top 5 as well.
We'd like to do the top 5 misheard lyrics, all right? Wayne's World, top 5 misheard
lyrics. But he was Garth in Wayne's World, which is my background. Here, this is the Wayne's World set, so you can see that I have affection for that sketch and those characters. But yeah, I just think Dana Carvey is a hilarious guy. Stand-up often gets overlooked, but he is a great stand-up comedian. He owes it all to the San Fran scene, and he's my number one.
She's chopping broccoli, chopping broccoli, chopping broccoli.
He's no W. Kamau Bell.
Well, we have the dichotomy. We have a situation where you have a native who is a little bit of a lighter in terms of tone, but I think his own sketch show gets underreported as like this is where many of our, the next 10, 15 years of stand-up comedy or sketch comedy or anything, it's not defined by that show, but like those people were there. It was like the Ben Stiller show's little brother in terms of oh, this is an all-star team that was just allowed to go crazy and have these weird sketches where Bill Clinton has like a puppy chest, like a dog chest where he was feeding puppies, and like this was on national like national television, not cable, like HBO. This is nuts.
That's right, just suckle in there. Strap on, Tricia. Eat to your heart's content.
That was crazy, yeah.
And I think one of the few things about stand-up, like you can appreciate it so much more as an adult because you can go to comedy clubs and you can kind of be this intellectual about it. But I would say a large part of my understanding of the world is through like SNL, and especially like Choppin' Broccoli is like.
She's chopping broccoli, chopping broccoli, chopping broccoli. She's chopping broccoli.
Because if you really break down that bit, he's talking about like kind of the politics of of linguistics. He's really giving a shape to just like, all right, this is how music works. Like,
right.
Like it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to feel right. And then when you get into that, you could talk about anything. And just the words, like there's a lot of K's in broccoli. It ends with a beautiful, like funny vowel. Like this is like a dissertation. This is a term paper in the shape of a comedy bit.
Right.
In a special where like he was already famous. He was already like that dude as a sketch comedian, and many were trying to like position him as like, oh, is he like Myers? Is he like Jim Carrey? Is he like
right
all these other people? And like, yeah, he had those chops, but what he was really good at was like, I'm not going to as impactful as I am, and as good as I am, like, these things, I'm gonna have something to say with this stand-up, which is like really hard. Like, you hear about people who come in after 10, 15, 20, 30 years breaks, and like they're just trying to figure out how I'm so famous. This is what killed Steve Martin. Steve Martin also was like a huge, like, developed in San Francisco.
That's right. He developed the jerks persona and all that.
Yeah, like, once you get to a certain place, like, how do you be funny? Like, not just like famous, right? Or like, oh, he was funny for a famous person, which right. You see in a lot of comedy clubs. Just like, no, this guy is like, he won the San Francisco International Comedy Competition, rose to like one of the highest levels in comedy institution, and made movies and all this other stuff. But like, how am I gonna be funny? And like, Choppin' Broccoli is that.
She chop broccoli. She chop broccoli. She choppin', she choppin', she choppin', she choppin', she choppin', broccoli.
I'm just like, I could be funny in all these different avenues. I could do television, I can do movies. I'm very funny as an actor, but I'm going to create a bit that lives in your soul. Especially if you're like a kid and you hear that, you're just like, yeah, I'll be able to recreate that in my brain for eternity.
It is a great bit, and I love how you broke it down. And it is kind of like you said, like a term paper on a lot of you could take that for a lot of different metaphors, right, and work that in, and it's just such a great. Everything about it is great. His performance, the song, the meanings behind it, just like you just so greatly put it. It just you just made it even a cooler bit.
Choppin' broccoli.